Hi everyone, Mark Prettyman here, and today I'd like to talk to you about the arcade expression language. And no, I don't mean this type of arcade. While this type of arcade game is actually really fun, so is the arcade expression language created by Esri. So it was originally created way back in December of 2016, and it works across all of the ArcGIS products, including Pro, Online, the JavaScript, and the Runtime SDKs. And anyone with a familiarity of Python and JavaScript should have no problem with ArcGIS Arcade. I see it as being very similar, just with a slightly different syntax in relation to maps and layers and fields. Again, with the very basic understanding of Python and JavaScript, you should have no problem. Looking at the structure and logic on the arcade site, you can see that the global variables, they're a little bit different. They have dollar signs, but essentially they're just different ways to call upon fields, features, etc. as part of your map. The variables, you have to declare them, you can set them, and once that's done, you can create variables using fairly complicated formulas by referencing the various fields. To highlight a very simple one, what I'd like to do is to show you this example where I've added the total area together of the area of land and the area of water. Although it's already populated, I'll go briefly into the Calculate field. I'll choose the Arcade option as opposed to the SQL option. And once that loads, you can use these drop downs to figure out, yes, I want to choose area of land, choose the plus, area of water, and that's that. That's all you have to do. Of course, you can get much more complicated. To go into an online map example, I chose our Lesson 6 option where we had created symbology and pop-ups related to a feature. I had chosen Delaware, and as you can see here, I have a pop-up that shows the difference in 2000-2007 population. On the left is the JavaScript code. You can see that I use brackets to reference the name as a field and the population as a field, and I run a very small formula or function to get the percentage. In Arcade, what I would do is I use the dollar feature to reference the specific field, and I can write out the formula to calculate it as opposed to calling a function. I can even include other external mathematical functions like rounds, and it will populate it. It happens in the expression, it gets a name, and then the expression name is called upon up in the text. Now, if I were to set the pop-up template from 1 to 2, it would look exactly the same. Here in pop-up template 3, here is the traditional field view where you have the field name and the label. Here is the alternate view using expressions where I call upon dollar feature and the field name, but back up in field name itself, you use expression and the variable. And if I were to run that, you would see that there is a very similar looking result in the pop-up. See, there's two different ways, but they return the same result. And looking at one other example, I have an online map here that was prepared and included in a blog post. But what this does is it's calculating this pop-up layer of trees which intersect this feature. So you have these features and another layer, urban forestry, that intersects. Although it's already done, if I quickly look into the pop-up, you can see that there's various variables. You're setting a feature set based upon a name and a layer, and you use a count and intersect function to accomplish this. Now, there's so much more I could go into, but we just don't have time today. So I'd like to end with a couple quick references. As I've mentioned, the ArcGIS blog is great. The ArcGIS Arcade from the developer site is great. And of course, the lovely Pac-Man doodle for the opening information. So I'd like to leave you and recommend to my classmates, head to the ArcGIS blog, search for Arcade, and look for information there. It's where I've learned a lot of information, and I know you will too. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.